Hello, a very good evening to you viewers. Welcome to the show. This is the evening political talk show. It's not the Bill O'Reilly show, it's the Good Evening Ghana show here at Metro TV. Tonight is going to be completely exciting, wouldn't it? The National Democratic Congress has come out of the weekend smelling of roses. They elected John Dramani Mahama with a commanding majority of over 98% of votes, similar to what President Mahama achieved in the year 2019, ahead of 2020's elections. There's a lot more stories out of that, but most of it is a positive story for the National Democratic Congress. However, we'll go into the details about some of the things that happened, some of the people who lost and some of the people who won. Mubarak Muntaka, the former minority chief whip, has been complaining that the party leaders tried to orchestrate, organize, and occasion his defeat in Asawase. But he says, by the grace of his God, he won. We'll interrogate that story and see what's in there. And then also we have sent a reporter to Pram, the battleground of Sam George and Mr. Nati. It turned out that Sam George was going to pick what looked almost like a landslide. Is that the reflection of the constituents and how they see the both NDC candidates? Our reporter was embedded in Pram all day, all night, and then on Sunday and even yesterday. He will be in the studio to tell us everything he found out from Pram. So you can't miss that as well. Okay, so without much ado, I will at this stage introduce and formally from Good Evening Ghana. This is very formal from us from Good Evening Ghana. We would like to congratulate John Dramani Mahama for being re-elected once again as the NDC flag bearer for the next election, and we welcome him to his fourth election in Ghana in 2024. Congratulations, President Mahama.
I rise for Ghana, oppression of the land, for weather and seek your future, development our God, from vision to victory, the NDC shall lead, brave Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity, from vision to victory, the NDC shall lead, brave Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity. Ejo bana from vision to victory, the NDC shall lead, stable Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity, from vision to victory, the NDC shall lead, stable Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity, from vision to victory, the NDC shall lead, stable Democrat.
All right, good evening and welcome again to the program. Congratulations to John Dramani Mahama. In our first story, we're going to be a bit controversial because we're going to talk about something deep about politics, okay, and how political people relate. And we're going to talk about President Mahama, who is here, who we have just congratulated for winning the NDC primaries. And if I swipe, will I get the photograph? We're going to talk about Mrs. Gifty Lamte, Reverend Gifty Lamte, as well. It's somebody we're going to talk about tonight. And then, there should be another photograph. Please, can you put it there very quickly? And we're going to talk about a third person. So first is John Dramani Mahama. The next is the Reverend Gifty Lamte. That's her. Oh, they are worrying me. They are not bringing. Okay, let's congratulate John Mahama again. Let's do the John Mahama congratulations again, so we can get our photographs working. I'm sorry about this, viewers. This is a congratulatory montage for President Mahama.
Patron of the land, for weather and seek your future. Development our God, from vision to victory, the end is surely. Able democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity, from vision to the end is surely. Stable democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity. Eja bana strength to unity, from vision to victory, the end is surely. Stable democrat, Ghana, our strength to unity, from vision to victory, the end is surely. Stable democrat.
All right, so we start the story again. Thank you very much for your patience, viewers. We are really sorry about this. So the story is about John Dramani Mahama, former president of Ghana, now the leader, undisputed leader of the National Democratic Congress. And I'm just telling this story about what happened at the primaries on Saturday, especially the parliamentary primaries. Of course, everyone knew that President Mahama was going to win. It was just about how much he was going to win, and he did what he did in 2020. He won massively, a full endorsement of the NDC. We congratulate him for that. This is the other person in the story, Reverend Gifty Lamte, and this is how she appeared for the wedding of her son, Kojo Jones, which was quite well publicized. And then there's another photograph they're going to put there on. Okay, correct. This is it. So this is also John Dramani Mahama and Dr. Dufour. So we are looking at the relationship, and then I need Asidun Ketia, please, as soon as you can get it. So we're looking at the relationship between John Dramani Mahama and can you get me the, yes, please, thank you. We're looking at a relationship between John Dramani Mahama, Madame Gifty Lamte, and Dr. Kwabena Dufour and Johnson Asiedun Ketia. So this is John Mahama and Kwabena Dufour and Johnson Asiedun Ketia and Mrs. Lamte. So this is the story. So the NDC goes to Congress, and the NDC goes to Congress on Saturday. And we know that since the recent past, we've seen political congresses of many young people, since 2016, I have to say, young people coming into politics. George Anda, Kojo Ponkrumah, Hassan Tampuli, Charles Bissiu. On the NDC side, the younger Tete, Hannah Tete's younger sister, who is now the member of parliament for Senya Breku. We saw a lot of young people coming in. Some of these young people were coming in as second-generation politicians. Their fathers were politicians already. And you will expect that because their fathers are politicians, sometimes they are well-groomed. We've seen that happening around Zaneto Rollins in Usu and all of that. So we saw all of those things happening. Now, it was obvious that this was going to happen again at the NDC Congress on Saturday. So President Mahama is presiding over this event. When I say presiding, I don't mean he's the general secretary of the party. He's the overlord of everything that's happening in NDC right now. And therefore, he's presiding over this event and strategically looking at what is happening in every constituency. So we've been looking at this, and we are thinking that President Mahama's advisors probably had missed something we've been looking at this, and we think that President Mahama's advisors have missed something. So this is President Mahama and Dr. Dufour. Dr. Dufour is running against President. Of course, President Mahama is going to make sure Dr. Dufour doesn't win, that he wins, and Dr. Dufour wants to win, etc. We heard about all the court cases. All that is buried right now. But President Mahama should have looked at the situation. We think his advisors should have told him that have a close look at Dufour's son. And I like the way they started doing the flyers of Kwabena Dufour Jr. and John Mahama, etc., etc. Have a look at Dufour's son, okay? And also have a look at Gifty Lamte's son. Can I have Gifty Lamte there? Please put the pictures as I mentioned their names. Also have a look at Gifty Lamte's son. Now, if you have an individual picture of Kojo Jones, let me have. If you don't have it, let me have Kojo Jones and his parents. And my editor is changing too many pictures. So this is Gifty Lamte. If you get Kojo Jones and his parents, put it up. So Gifty Lamte's son was running for Keta. His name is Kojo Jones. Okay. So this is Kojo Jones, right? This is Kojo Jones. You know him. This is Gifty Lamte. This is David Lamte. May he rest in peace eternally. David Lamte died in 2012. When David Lamte died in 2012, I was looking for the video today. I didn't have time to get it, but I'll find it. Johnson Asedu Ketia made a statement so David Lamte died on 5 December 2012, 2 days to December 7th. Professor Mills had died on 24th July. David Lamte died on July 5 December. NDC had a rally, a big final rally at the Accra Sports Stadium. Kojo Bonsu had just done the red t-shirts that the NDC was wearing, 2012. Johnson Asedu Ketia, who was the general secretary of the party, held up the rally and asked the entire NDC rally to observe 5 minutes silence for the memory of David Lamte. This is how colossal David was to the NDC. Now, let me talk about David's wife in terms of how colossal in her own right, how colossal she is to the NDC. So, David Lamte, her husband, was particularly important to the NDC. Well, he was an NDC member of parliament, for those who may not know. I took it for granted that people know. He was where Zanetta Rawlings is, Kole Klote. David was actually the last NDC MP of Kole Klote before Dr. Rawlings. I believe so. Okay, let's calculate. David, in 1992, was Tayo Okuno was the MP. 96 was David Lamte. 2000, the MPP got it. I believe the MP got it in 2004 and 2008, something like that. I'm not so sure, but it looks like the NPP held it for a while until Zanetta. But David was the MP in Kole Klote back in 1996. It was a fierce contest between him and the independent candidate Tayo Okuno. So Tayo Okuno was a candidate for 92, and David Lamte became the candidate for 96, chosen by Fly Lieutenant Rawlings and E.T. Mensah, imposed on the party. Tayo Okuno said that he doesn't understand. He went independent because Tayo Okuno believed that he had been the elected candidate of the NDC for the 96 elections. But when David Lamte said he was interested, J.J. Rawlings and E.T. Mensah decided that David Lamte should be the candidate. At that time, David was already married to Gifty, you see. And David became the candidate. That's David Lamte's image. Now, let's talk about Mrs. Lamte, Mrs. Gifty Lamte, the Reverend Minister, and her own right in the NDC. Put Gifty Lamte's photograph up. Let me tell this story. And that's very, very important. Okay. So this is Reverend Gifty Lamte. If you want to attend church with her church is at East Legon. You can find it and attend it with her. Now, when Reverend Gifty Lamte's mother, she was a nurse in Tema, when she died, I was in the church in Tema where the funeral service was held. In that church, at that time, Professor Mills was the president of Ghana, and the funeral service was held in Tema. Professor Mills, president of Ghana, was there. I believe that John Dramani Mahama, vice president, was there. Kojo Chikata, former National Security Coordinator. This is when Mills was president. Kojo Chikata had retired a long time ago. Mills is president. This is about 2010, I believe. Kojo Chikata, former National Security Coordinator. Who doesn't go anywhere? Kojo Chikata didn't go to many places. He's always at home, and people go and see. He doesn't go anywhere. Kojo Chikata was in the church for the funeral service of Gifty Lamte's mother. And I'm referring to Gifty Lamte, the mother of Kojo Jones. They are now defeated PC of Keta. Okay. So, the funerals occurred. So Professor Mills, David Lamte, Kojo Chikata, Flight Lieutenant Rawlings were all in the room in Tema when Mrs. Lamte's mother had passed. I never saw her, I never met her, but I was in the service as well. When Mrs. Lamte's mother had passed. Okay. Now, something struck me when I was observing the proceedings, especially at the end. When the funeral service was about to end, we heard the sound of a helicopter hovering over the church of sorts. The sound became quite loud, so people were getting concerned. Apparently, The helicopter had been commandeered to arrive at the church to take the body of Mrs. Lamte's mother to Keta, or the Keta area, which is where she was going to be buried, which is her home, which is where her people are, which is where she wants to be, and that's where they're going to conduct the rest of the funeral. Now, one very important person in the church, among the names I've mentioned, sat in the helicopter and flew away with the body to Keta. That's Gifty Lamte. Okay, now bring me back John Mahama's photograph. So, in those circumstances of John Mahama, in those circumstances of Mrs. Lamte presenting her son to the NDC parliamentary group, I'm thinking that President Mahama's advisor should have advised him in a certain way. And I'm coming to the point. Let's talk now about Dr. Dufour as well. Okay. Dr. Dufour is also, I'm talking about Dr. Dufour's importance to the NDC in his own right. Now, Dr. Dufour is important to the NDC, not just because he was a finance minister for the party or that he was a governor of the central bank, but in terms of the regional administration of votes. Ashanti has become particularly crucial to everyone, but especially the NDC. People think Ashanti is more important to the NPP. It is, very. But it is important to the NDC because just check the last results. NDC pulled 600,000 single votes from the Ashanti region. The difference between NDC and MPP in Volta region was not up to 600,000. But NDC's single votes pulled out of Ashanti was 600,000 in the last election. If that vote that they pulled in Ashanti was 700,000, it would have meant that the difference between President Akufo-Addo and General Yohana would have been 400,000. That is getting close to a second round. It was not a second round, but it's getting close. So Ashanti is particularly important to the NDC. Now, Dr. Dufour is considered as a foremost Ashanti, and I'll tell you why. In the era of democracy, or in the era of the history of Ghana, not many Ashantis have risen to the level where Dr. Dufour has risen to become the Minister of Finance and earlier on the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, and actually Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana. So Dr. Dufour has occupied Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, and Minister of Finance at different times. So he's very, very important to the whole Ashanti conversation. Okay. Now, if you go back into history, and I don't need the history anymore, but if you go back into history, I can just talk about it, of finance ministers who have been in Ghana. We started with Komla Gbedema, who was the Kwame Nkrumah's finance minister, and then we went on to Kwame Nkrumah. He ran away, of course, and then he had Kwame Nkrumah had Amoakwata, whose son is still around and doing some good work around. One day I'll bring him on TV. The finance minister's son, Amoakwata, he's around. Okay, and then after Finance Minister Amoakwata was the Buzia government. Well, during the military era, somebody was Finance Minister, I'm not sure. But I'm sure there was a commissioner for finance from among the soldiers or something like that. But then Buzia came in and appointed J.H. Mensah as his finance minister. So up until that time, no Ashanti had been finance minister. And then the Achampon era had Achampon was himself the commissioner for finance as a military ruler. But then he had some people working on it, and they were Ashantis. I think Kwame Pianim was one of them, Victor Salome was another, and then there was Anane Benfo as another. Yeah, I like this photograph of Kwame Pianim and Kutu Achampon. That's and Anane Benfo. Yes, this is we can't find a photo of Anane Benfo, not Anane Boafo. It's Anane Benfo, B-I-N-F-O, Anane Benfo. And they were working around the Ministry of Finance. Kwame Pianim is an Ashanti, of course. I believe Anane Benfo too is. But they were not appointed Minister of Finance. And then came in 79, I'm not so sure who, George Bennett started it. Professor George Bennett started as the finance minister in 1979, and then his budget was toppled, and then he resigned and went to lands where he had been during the Achampon era. And then from there, you come straight to Kwesi Boche, isn't it? Kwesi Boche was there forever, so we know that it makes our work a bit easy for researchers. So that Kwesi Boche was the next. And then up until the names I'm mentioning in terms of formal Minister of Finance, and I'm talking about Kwabena Dufour, none of these was Ashanti. So I'm giving you Kwabena Dufour's profile in the NDC and in Ashanti region. Then I'll come and make the point, okay? Please get me Asenu Ketia's son, the victorious son's photograph ready. Okay, so this is Kwesi Boche. After Kwesi Boche, then came Richard Kwame Pepra. Now, Richard Kwame Pepra will be the first official Ashanti to have been named Minister of Finance. Richard Kwame Pepra. He was the first. He came before Dr. Dufour. He was the first. After Kwame Pepra came Yao Safo Mafo. I'm sure you can all remember that. Yao Safo Mafo is from Erisa in Achim. A very clever man. Yao Safo Mafo was the next. And then after Yao Safo Mafo was Kojo Banredu. And Kojo Banredu is Ashanti, was an Ashanti MP, so he's Ashanti. So yes, that was the next Ashanti. And after Kojo Banredu was Dr. Kwabena Dufour. Okay, so Kwabena Dufour is important to Ashanti like that. After President Kufuor, he's the next most important Ashanti. Okay, that's Kwabena Dufour's photograph. So after John Ajekum Kufuor, the next most important Ashanti to the people of Ashanti in terms of the political heritage of Ghana is Kwabena Dufour, because Kufuor was president. So that's the first one. There's been no Ashanti vice president yet. I understand that there could be one in 2025, but I don't know. But that's what I've heard, that some people are planning for an Ashanti vice president in 2025. I don't know, but I've heard it. So we will see what happens. But there's been no Ashanti vice president. So then you come to the senior most ministers. And if you look at the senior most ministers, Ministry of Finance, and he's been governor of the central bank. So Kwabena Dufour is important to Ashanti. Okay. Now, get me back John Mahama's photograph. I'm now about to make the point. Yes. So you're President Mahama. President Mahama has advisors. You're going into this election. You're looking at post-election. When you're going into primaries, viewers, we have learned, those of us who have been studying the politics on the ground and then being students of political science, we have learned that when you're going into primaries, the most important thing at the back of your mind should be what happens post-primaries. How do we put the unity together? And whilst I say that, I have to say that I'll come back to congratulate John Mahama on the Tamale event. I'll talk about that a bit later. But you need to, while you're going into the primaries, have at the back of your mind, what am I going to, how do I unite the party to win? That's always been the conversation. Now, I'll digress a little bit to the MPP. Last 4 years, when the MPP were running their primaries, I was particularly worried about something. I went to ask one of the important MPP elders. Now, I was worried about it because everyone knows that I have a 25,000% support for Esla Owusu, the politician and minister for communication. I just love Esla, you know that. I like her brain, I like her attitude, I like her politics, I like Esla. Okay. So I got concerned that people were telling me that, your madam, she's going to face a battle in her constituency. I said, hey, why? Esla is not going to face any battle, she will win. They say, She. Kandapa's son is challenging her. I said, oh, but well, Kandapa's son, how old is he? They said, well, he may be young, but he's giving her a run for her money. So I went to ask Esla people that. The Kandapa thing, how? They said, oh, we will win, but yes, he's there, but we will win. Okay. Then I heard later on that Kandapa's son could not miss the threshold at the vetting. So he was unqualified for the position. That's what I heard later on. So I went to ask one of the elders that I heard that Kandapa's son it turned out that when he went to the vetting, he was unqualified for the position for one reason or the other. He said, yes, but that was very good for us. I said, why? He said, but how are you going to have him run against Esla? I said, but Esla will win. She said, but that's the point. Esla wins means that you have embarrassed the National Security Minister. I said, I don't understand. He said, listen. The guy is Kandapa's son. Kandapa is our National Security Minister. How does he go on the ballot and lose? That's an embarrassment to the National Security Minister. That's something we cannot do as a party. And you cannot have him go there and defeat Esla Owusu. Esla Owusu is an institution of this party. She represents the women. The young women look up to her. So you can't have Esla Owusu be on the ballot in the parliamentary primary of the MPP and lose when she's the incumbent. It cannot happen. It will destroy everything. So it's good that Kandapa's son is not there at all. He was unqualified, so he wasn't there. He has to wait his turn. But now it's because the guy, and I learned a lot from what the guy said. He said that Kandapa's son is the Minister for National Security's son, our party. Kandapa has done so much for our party. He was a member of parliament. He's been Minister for Energy. He's been Minister for Communication. He's been Minister for Interior. He's been Minister for Defense. He served Kufuor so well. He's serving Akufo-Addo. Do you embarrass such a person by his son comes to primaries and loses? You have to make sure that whatever has to be done for him to win legitimately, he has to win. So, with that at the background, I would have spoken to John Mahama's advisor and said, listen, give Tilamte for the kind of work that she has done for the party. Kojo Jones must win. He must win. Because of Gifty Lamte, herself, her mother, her husband, that equation. Not many people give up their lives for parties. No. If you go around Accra or you go around Kumasi, you go to Ahunjo and those places in Kumasi and you go to Takoradi Chapel Hill and all that. They are very important people who are not political. They are civil servants or they are doctors or they are lawyers. They are not political. They don't do any politics because they don't like that. But there are other people like John Mahama, like David Lamte, like Nana Akufo-Addo, like Kandapa, like Hakman Uswajima, who are giving their lives to politics. The life that they could have given to their children, they've given it to politics. Same as John Mahama. He's given all his life to politics. As Dr. Baumia said, he's been in politics 40 years. That's all his life he's given to politics. Give me a photograph of Gifty Lamte, David Lamte, and Kojo Jones again. So when you look at Kojo Jones, you don't think of Kojo Jones. You think of the people, his antecedents, his ancestry, who have built the NDC party. Do you look at that and say that he should lose? The NDC has done something similar today, which I commend. They went to the Volta region, K2 North, and made sure that Agbana has been elected. Because Agbana is a clever guy. He's been on Good Evening Ghana at upstairs there when we're doing the election. I know him, and he talks well. So he's an asset to the party in terms of communication. Now, if you have that asset to the party and you have another person whose resources and human intellect and everything is useful, everybody in a political party is useful, but that person can wait a little bit, then so you take Agbana. That's what they did, which is okay. Now, so you look at the combination of work that David Lamte has done for the NDC and compare it to the work that Gifty Lamte's mother did for the NDC, such that Kojo Chikata felt compelled to attend her funeral. And then you embarrass Kojo Jones at the Keta, where his grandmother, who is a colossal member of the party, is buried. That's an embarrassment to Kojo Jones. And if I were John Mahama, I'll call the NDC and say that, look, how is Kojo Jones doing? Is he going to win? And then they say, no, the Kojo Jones, the thing is tight. Call the other guy for me. Because you are John Mahama, you can do that. And then you tell him that, Chief, listen, we like you, we love you. Nobody in the political party is not useful. At this stage, I beg you. If you are John Mahama, you tell him, I beg you, he will listen. You let Kojo Jones go. When I become president, I'll deal with it. I'll tell you a story. I have too many stories, so sometimes I digress. Please, time me on this digression. 1 minute per. All right. The story is told, and I believe that I have their permission to say it. And I'm talking about Isaac Osei, the chairman of GAPOHA, former Ghana High Commissioner, John Ajekum Kufuor, former president, Dr. Richard Anani, former minister, Owusu Efiri Akoto, now president of presidential candidate of the MPP, and former member of parliament and former agric minister. These are the four men I'm talking about. I'm sure they'll put their pictures up when we do the Facebook one. So the story is told that there was a parliamentary primary story in Bantama, the old Bantama. Bantama has now been divided, so in Shaiso and others are out of Bantama. But this Bantama included in Shaiso and Kwadaso. So it was a big Bantama. Okay. So there was elections in Bantama ahead of the 2000 elections. This is 98 primaries. Dr. Richard Anani was running for the primaries, MP Bantama. Isaac Osei was running for the primaries to be MP Bantama. Owusu Efiri Akoto was running for the primaries to be MP Bantama. John Kufuor was leader of the party. He had never been president, unlike President Mahama, who has been president. John Kufuor had never been president at the time, but he was the leader of the party. So he had that two people were challenging Richard Anani in Bantama. John Kufuor wanted Richard Anani, his protege, to be the person to be elected. So John Kufuor called Isaac Osei and spoke to Isaac Osei that, oh, Isaac, we are Madame Fupa. This is a story. It's an interesting story. We are Madame Fupa, me pewasem. But when you say Anani dear, me need to say, into we dear Mr. Wa, Mananenko. If I become president, Isaac, whatever position you want to serve, I will give you the opportunity to serve. This is a story that President Kufuor to Isaac Osei said to me, that he looked at the story. Here my 1 minute is up. Okay, another minute. He looked at the story. He looked at President Kufuor and said, "Ofa, I understand. No problem." So he stepped aside. Also, Efiri Akoto did not listen to Kufuor's advice. He got disqualified. And he ran as independent candidate in Bantama in that period. Then he got 5,000 or something like that. Anyway, they always use it against him. But anytime I tell him, he smiles and says, "What are they talking about? Run as independent what? What are they talking about?" And he's a nice man like that. So this is the story. Now, the story continues. So, Anani goes to become MP of Bantama. Isaac Osei steps aside, okay? And then, Kufuor wins the election. He wins in 2000. He's elected president. The end of the story is this. Now, Isaac Osei tells the most beautiful story at the end here. So, Kufuor has won the elections. He's been sworn in. Sometime in March of the same year, 2001, Victor Owusu is dead or something like that. So, there's a big funeral in Kumasi. Everybody goes. Isaac Osei shows up. He had not seen Kufuor since Kufuor was formally sworn in as president. He hasn't seen him. And Kufuor has made all his appointments. He didn't remember Isaac. The promise he gave him, nothing happened. Isaac also is competent to have been anything, but everything is gone. It looks like that. So Isaac says he sees John Kufuor, President Kufuor now at the funeral, and he goes to him. President Kufuor says, "Hey, Isaac, hey." Something to say, "Oh, I've forgotten that. Then, interesting story. President Kufuor takes Isaac Ose's mobile phone and says, "What is your wife's number?" So Isaac Ose says he's confused. He says, "My wife is saved, let me tell you." So he does it. Then President Kufuor dials. Interesting story. So Mrs. Ose picks the phone. President Kufuor says, "Hello, Mr. Ose, it's saying President Kufuor." He says, "Oh, Mr. President, congratulations," all that. Yeah. President Kufuor says, "I'm sending you to London as High Commissioner. So I'm telling you, so he doesn't have to tell me. So that is it. It's end of story. Go to London. Take the phone." That's how Isaac Ose went to London. Beautiful story. Put John Mahama here. Beautiful story. Beautiful story. That's what happened. Because President Kufuor looked at it and said, "This is going to be complicated. I want Richard Anani, but I like Isaac Ose too. So let me call Isaac and talk to him." That's what President Mahama should have done. That you get Kojo Jones to lose and be embarrassed. Kwabena Dufour's son to be embarrassed. But Aseedun Ketia's son should win. No. Doesn't work. Please, let me see the young Aseedun Ketia and congratulate him. Aseedun Ketia's son should win. I believe so. His father is General Secretary of the party, the eternal General Secretary of the party. His son should come and contest primaries and lose. No. Aseedun Ketia has given all his life to NDC. Why should the young man contest primaries and lose? In fact, he should even run unopposed. I hope he did. Can you check? Because he should be running unopposed. That is the price that his father has paid. I mean, that's him. Yeah. Charles said, "Congratulations, Chief. By the grace of God, welcome to politics." Oh, he's actually a cool guy. He's actually a very cool guy. He has some of his father's height. And this is the one I love the most. Oh, father and son, we love you and we love you. So I believe that Aseedun Ketia's son or Aseedun Ketia's nephew, when he tries to run for NDC, NDC should let him win because of what his father has done. And you can also, you see, those people are also very good, like Zaneto Rollins, because there's a check on them all the time. There's always a check. There's always going to be a check on this guy. Aseedun Ketia is going to, and this is once he's Aseedun Ketia's son, he's also Lofuso Ampofo's son. He's also John Mahama's son. He's also Hudiaye's son. So when you have those people in politics, you can control them. Unlike some of those there that we can't control, they are talking this, you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to say too much. But people like this, you can control. Rawlins's daughter, you can control her. Because she steps out of line. You tell JJ or you tell Nana Kunedu that Zaneto has stepped out of line. In any case, Zaneto is Nana Kunedu's daughter. So she's also Cecilia Johnson's daughter. She's also Leba Mitchell's daughter. She grew up with all of these people. So we like those people in politics. It's good to have them because you can keep them on the straight and narrow. Some of those who come, all right, no problem. There are some of those who also can learn. But sometimes in the modern world, the young people don't want to learn anything. They think they know everything, so they come. So when you have people like Aseedun Ketia's son in the parliament and he steps out of line, you don't even need to go to Aseedun Ketia. Oh, some of you can pick a phone and call him and say, "Hey, Charles, what are you talking about? You're embarrassing us. You can't do that." And he will listen. So it's good. But then how then do you go? Can I have President Mahama back here? How then do you go to a contest and have Aseedun Ketia's sons win? Gifty Lamte's son should lose and be embarrassed. Kwabena Dufour's son should lose and be embarrassed. That's wrong. I think John Mahama's advisors did not give him good advice. On that one, they didn't give him good advice. Because I heard them tell me in the MPP that Kandapa's son cannot run an election and lose. You can't embarrass the National Security Minister's son. So it's good that he was unqualified. In the same way, they said, but how can Esla Usu go and be defeated by Kandapa's? You're embarrassing Esla. You can't. Esla is an institution of the MPP. I thought that President Mahama's advisor should have looked at him and said, "Mr. President, this Kwabena Dufour's son and Gifty Lamte's son, they have to win." But that's what the NDC has done today. They've gone to voter registration to ensure that Agbana wins. The Electoral Commission were waiting to do their recount and whatever, the rerun of the ballot. But NDC says Agbana has won. I support that analysis. Now, if you look at the cast of the people who appeared there, you will know that they went there to make Agbana win. Odiju Tamaklo, who is John Mahama's lawyer, the NDC lawyer, was Agbana's lawyer. And then you had Elik Plim Agbamava, I think that's his name. Elik Plim Agbamava, very handsome guy, lawyer, who was PA to Betty Mould during that time. He's lawyer for the other guy. Alec Pilimabamava is the same guy who competed against John Mahama the other day. So you could tell that if Tamaklo is representing this guy and Agbamava is representing this guy, and the umpires are Sedu Katia and Fifi Kwete, Agbana was going to win. So yes, that's fine. But that's the point I'm making. Viewers, you can tell me what you think about it because I'm coming to the end of my points. Now, so if that had happened, John Mahama could have put a call through to Dr. Dufo. I don't know whether he has done that yet. He could have put a call through to Dr. Dufo, you see. And he could have told Dr. Dufo in the conversation that Dr. is saying, President knew. He would say, hey, President Mahama is saying, Dr. Dufo is always with his wife, so I'm sure his wife will be there. And then you say, oh, wait there, congratulate you, Kwabnama, why? That's the way he would do it. He's not talking about him and Dr. Dufo, no. He would just say, congratulate you, Kwabnama, why? Wait there, because Kwabna was in such a front place. Dr. Dufo's son, Kwabna, if he has won the election, he'll be happy. Forget about how he has lost or he didn't do it all. But if you are telling him congratulations to his son whom he loves, he'll be happy. He'll calm down. And he'll say, he say, okay, Doc, but your Monday might be home. Why? He will say, okay. And put the phone down and he tell his wife, that was John Mahama. And his wife will say, Opeden. He said, I will say congratulations to Kwabna. Na Monday will be home. And the woman will say, okay, any more bread. Now time no kasa one time. Monday or bar. That's a door open right there for your unity for your 2024. That's a door open right there. Then you call Kwabna and say, hey, small boy, congratulations. They say, oh, Mr. President, thank you. They say, hey, this one there, you did well. He say, oh, boss, Charlie, it was good. So where are you? I'm back in Accra. I'm coming to see your father on Monday, so I need to go with you. They say, but have you told him? Yeah, I've called him and told him. Say, oh, okay. So how do we do it? He said, will you pick me up and I come? How do we do it? Talk to my security people and then arrange it. But I'm free from 12 to 2. Then you tell his father that John Mama will be home between 12 and 2 on Monday. Why? He said, that's a door open right there. It's a door open right there. You call Gifty Lamte. Because these are institutions of the party. They can do a lot for you. Call Gifty Lamte and say, Madam Gifty, you speak some Ewe. You just ask Standogwe that, how do you say in Ewe that congratulations to Kojo Jones? How do you say? Stan will tell you. Then you call her, Megbo Esia, F1, John Mahama is talking something. Hey, you say it nicely in Ewe. She will laugh and she'll be happy and say that, oh, so where's Kojo? Has he come back from Keta? They say, oh, I think he's come back. He's sleeping. He's too tired. So, madam, I need to come and see you. This 2024, we have to win. So you are going to be one of our main pillars. I need to come and see you. She'll be excited. That's a door open right there. So you've opened 2 doors. I see Edukatia Santu has won. You call him and say, Charles, how is it? You are doing well. Tell him your victory was good. Yes. And then you are going along. Now with this kind of situation, I see going to relate. And Dr. Dufo cannot be discounted in the Ashanti vote. So never mind your humiliation of Kojo Bones or another Ashanti. That's a big matter. So people have been saying on social media that if John Mahama wants to redeem the thing, just pick Kojo Bonsu as your running mate and you are good to go. Pick Kojo Bonsu as your running mate and you are good to go. You would have resolved all the issues. I don't know about that. I don't know. I've not done any analysis to determine. But I think that John Mahama should be doing quite a bit to compensate Ashanti, given the situation with your opponents and given the embarrassment of Dr. Dufo, the terrible embarrassment of Dr. Dufo, by getting his son to be defeated by 8 votes in Sechafan Plains. I've seen the lady who won it. Cool lady. In politics, everybody is important. But Dr. Dufo and his son, they have quite a bit of economic control as the constituency. And you will be needing them to win. In fact, in 2020, it was Dr. Dufo and his son who secured that parliamentary seat. I'll be showing you the results of those 16 MPs who lost, and you will see it. In there, the Sechafan Plains was won by NDC by a whisker. And it was Dr. Dufo and his son who went there 2 weeks to the election to force the campaign to ensure that their uncle scaled through and was selected. Now, if you know the story and you are President Mahama and you have control over the party, you do what Kufuor did. Call them, tell them that, look, I'm the leader of the party. I beg you, let's move this way. By now, he would have had 2 doors open. Okay, I end there. However, I need to congratulate President Mahama for what he did the day after, the Tamale event. And many people have said it was very well put together and all of that. So the Tamale event was good. But there was more trouble from the Tamale event, wasn't it? Because he spoke about a 14-point plan. Dr. Kofi Amoah, who is, we say, is very sympathetic to the MPP, but recently has been critical of Ken Ofori-Atta, has written an article commenting on Dr. President Mahama's 14. And then also, one of the things President Mahama said over there about the Garland. People have talked about it. That's going to come up for discussion. But about the citizenship. Before the Congress, my friend, the guy who marked the law school script, Black Rasta, he had commented on President Mahama's citizenship analysis. And President Mahama repeated it in UDS in Tamale on Monday. So we're going to show you what President Mahama said whilst we congratulate him for the events. Now, why are we congratulating President Mahama for the Tamale events? It's about this, same thing I'm talking about. It's about the personalities who attended. He got Samuel Ofusampofu back into an NDC event, sitting next to Johnson Asiedu Nketiah. I think that was great. I think that was good. We have to remember that. Congratulate John Mahama for that. He was in there. He got Ofusampofu there. Asiedu Nketiah was there. He was there. Haruna Idrisu was there. Fifi Ato Forsen was there. So, to the extent that he thought about having an event in Tamale to have all of them there, I think that was good. That's the beginning of unity. For any political party, after the primaries, every political party, you have to unite people. Tonight, we'll be talking about a concept of the break the age that we found in our research. And I'll share that with you as well. That's also coming. So congratulations to John Mahama for that. But he talked about the citizenship thing again. This is what he said. After that, we'll show you what Black Rasta said about that. This is President Mahama.
I share the view that Ghanaians in the diaspora must no longer have to renounce their foreign citizenship before they can stand for elections or hold public office in Ghana. I personally believe that most of them make up for their absence with the remittances that they send. And definitely if conditions improve, a lot of them will return home to work here in Ghana. In fact, some Ghanaians in the diaspora have proven to be extremely beneficial to our country. Take for instance Professor Frimpong Boateng of the Cardiothoracic Center fame, who returned from Germany to establish the Cardio Center and has saved. Since the professor's return, he has contributed his significant bit in medicine and in politics.
President Mahama is talking about Frimpong Boateng. Now we have our own views about this citizenship thing. And there's a private members bill that put it up, and so it's gone to the speaker, and the speaker sent it to the Council of State, isn't it? But there's a small disagreement that we have with the citizenship that we can talk about. I always look at, for those of us who grew up in Ghana and studied in Ghana, I always look at two people, two men. Or shall I say two? Let's use two men, okay? One is in Commonwealth Hall at the University of Ghana. The other one is in Legon Hall. Both of them study medicine. Both of them go abroad to specialize. They go to America. They go to Connecticut, New York, specialize. Both of them specialize and become surgeons. Okay? One of them decides after becoming a surgeon that look, or after becoming a surgeon, both of them are offered American citizenship. One of them says that, oh, the time I was going to school, I come from Nkari. My uncle always said, "Oh, they will use school, be a doctor, no, be a MP." He remembers his uncle who is now dead, telling him that they will use school, be a doctor, no, be a MP. And he went into, he heard it from age 8, 9, 10, 11. His uncle always say, they were being, after every speech day, he collects the mathematics prize. Uncle say, they were being there, who will use school, be a doctor, or be a MP. So it's in his mind. So he finishes his specialization in America. They're offering him American passports. He's aware that if he takes American passports, he cannot do the MP for Nkari for his late uncle and his parents and his people. He can't. So he says, no, sorry, I don't want it. The other guy takes the American passport and continues his life in America as a surgeon. He's earning a lot of money. The other one comes to Ghana, comes to work at Kolebu 37, Rich Hospital and all that. Are we saying that on the day that the whistle is blown for the Nkari MP, both of them should be qualified to do it? I think no. Loyalty to the motherland is important. But the people who have dual citizenship, it doesn't mean they cannot do anything in Ghana, but they cannot be members of parliament. They can do other things. They can be ministers, they cannot be ministers as well. They can be ministers, they can be deputy ministers, they can be judges. Can be a judge of the Superior Court of Judicature. It's okay. You can be CEO of something, you can lead Ghana Commercial Bank, you can lead Noguchi, you can even be Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, but you cannot be a member of parliament. I'm not so sure why members of parliament want that changed. I don't understand it. Why do we want that change? And we suspect that President Mahama is talking about it because he suspects that people are worried about it so that it will give him some votes. later tonight I'll be talking about Donald Trump and been inviting President Mahama to point us to his record as often as he can, rather than telling us what he's going to do, because the rebuttal for what he's going to do is, what did you do that indicates that you will be able to do this? So tonight we'll put his 14-point plan on the screen and tell you how people are criticizing it. But that was John Mahama talking about citizenship. Now, here is the response, delivered earlier, but still relevant because John Mahama has repeated it. It was delivered by Black Rasta. Have a look. It's only a minute long.
Brother, my sister, can you believe what Mahama just said? All along I was giving you some very, very, very much underground support. I'll give Mahama the opportunity to come, and when Mahama comes up, oh, by all means he will be able to correct some of the mistakes as he has said. And this is what you are bringing. You are bringing dual citizenship people to come and rule over us. My God have mercy. Where we've seen people like Gabi, what they are doing to us in this country. Oh, what a joke. Mr. President, did you just say this? Will somebody wake me up from this dangerous nightmare and tell me, Black Rasta, you did not hear this? I am going to allow dual what? Dual citizenship holders, because they have the experience. So what? If they have the experience and they are loyal enough, they must shed off their dual citizenship and hold on to one. We have seen people who have shown us the way. They do not need to share their loyalty. My brother, my sister, this dual citizenship debate will continue unabated. But if Mahama has come out boldly to say this, I am truly ashamed. And I am very, very sad. And if I ever meet him, I'm going to tell him, Mr. President, who deceived you to say what you said? The fact that you want power does not mean that you can say anything populist. It's a shame. I leave it here.
Rastafari. Yes, that was Black Rasta ranting about what President Mahama said. And on this one, this is the only time I agree with Black Rasta. You know that Black Rasta and I have had a difficult relationship because he marked my scripts at law school and he said that I failed. So we don't have a good relationship. He's a bad lecturer and a bad script marker because he marked the script. I'm saying he marked the script because he sat on TV and said, the last time I checked, that Paul Adumochi failed law school exam. So I am assuming that he marked the script. So I think he did. So Black Rasta, remark it because I didn't fail. Right, mark the thing well. Or if you don't see my handwriting, call me. I'll type it for you to see. Okay. So sometimes, often I disagree with Black Rasta, but on this one, President Mahama. So there's a lot for us to talk about, Mr. President. Mr. President, this dual citizenship thing, Black Rasta is not happy. I'm not happy as well. We are your sons. Can you please come again on that? We don't want you to be, we don't want your advisors to take you to the populist line. We want you to lead and present yourself to Ghana the way it should be. Okay, so that's the end of our first story. Our next story is Kwaku Anyidoho versus Johnson Asidun Katia. But before then, and I like this producer, I like this one, this reminder. Professor Aaron Michael Quay, the former very distinguished Speaker of Parliament, and my own former distinguished lecturer in political science, and my own former chairman of board of governors at the Presbyterian Boys Secondary School when I was a student. Michael Quay was the chairman of the board of governors. When I left Presec and I went to university, he became my lecturer. Since then, we have been very good friends. When he was Speaker of Parliament, I was always there learning at his feet about how he's running Parliament. Such an interesting man. Every afternoon in those days, you can go to the Speaker's chamber. His grandchildren will be there, and it's always standard. His grandchildren are always there from 4 o'clock. His grandchildren are there. You go there, he's in a happy mood. Okwe is a sweet person to be with. Professor Michael Okwe is one of the sweetest persons you can have, and he has transferred a bit of that to his son Gabo, as we call him, Michael Okwe Jr., the senior from Presec, distinguished barrister at law, called to practice in England and of course in Ghana. Michael Okwe is now in pole position to become the member of parliament for Domi Kwabenya after the difficulties with Ajawa Safo. It's almost certain that Aaron Michael Okwe will take the position in January. But last Saturday, the testimony about Michael Quay's life was clear to everyone at the International Conference Center. His wife had not been well for a while, and she unfortunately sadly passed. A lot of crying had happened in the period. But the sheer array of people who appeared at the International Conference Center to mourn with Michael Quay tells you that if you live your life in a certain way, even if you are a politician in blue or red, NDC or MPP, if you live your life in a certain way, even your political opponents, they understand that you're a man of true quality, true humility, true excellence. That's what I can say about Aaron Michael Quay here. Now, this is Michael Quay, resplendently dressed with one of his grandchildren, always with his grandchildren, Professor Michael Quay. And oh, I'm so sorry to see this photograph. This is one of the grandchildren with their mother. I think this is very sad. Okay, so this is the clergy who were there to support Michael Quay. You know, Professor Aaron Michael Quay is also a Reverend Minister. This is the man I was talking about. This is Michael Quay, the senior from Clark House in Presec. He's now the Chief Executive of the Free Zones Board. He's Ghana's former ambassador to India, and he's now in pole position to become the Member of Parliament for Domi-Kwabenya constituency. Really sorry, Michael Quay, about the passing of your mom. These are the soldiers who were carrying the body. These are some of the guests, some of the grandchildren. It was not a great sight. They were all so sad. And this is some of the guests who appeared over there. Alan Kojo Chermatin and Hopsina Doye and Mrs. Chermatin were also there to mourn with the bereaved family. Aaron Michael Quay was there again. This is one of, I'm sure they are business people. This is Asamoah Boateng, and is that your Boateng Jan? I can see, I'm not so sure, but this is, it will not be, because that day Boateng Jan was busy on the NDC, but this is Asamoah Boateng, the Minister for Chieftaincy. Hey, this is the big man. This one is the big one. Hey, Ado Dankwa Akufo-Addo appeared there, quite very solemn, of course, with, as he himself describes, his beautiful Rebecca. And they appeared there to mourn with Aaron Michael Quay. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, a very distinguished First Lady, was there as well. I believe Alhaji Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia was there as well, with his wife Samira. Okay, so that's Aaron Michael Quay. Now let's do the text messages, and then we'll come back to the second story is Johnson Asidun Katia versus Koku Anyidoho. We'll come back to that story. Yes, text messages. Where do I start from? Fatih, okay. Fatih, what are people saying?
Okay, so coming from Moses Akugu, why must sons of former leaders be rewarded even if we have others they love? Paul, this analysis isn't great. In a modern democracy, elections should be based on merit, competence, not a reward for sons and daughters of senior members of any political party. Coming from Baba Taylor, good evening, Mr. Paul. It is clear that John Mahama isn't ready to unite the NDC. If you aren't in his good books, you have no future in the NDC because his executives will get you out just as they got rid of Haruna and Co. It's very sad. What is John Mahama even coming back to do that he couldn't do when he was the president of Ghana? And also coming from Nana Kweku, I disagree with you, sir. Professor Mike Okoye has been a very important member of the NPP, but his son has always been losing to Honorable Adrasafo. Per your analysis, can we conclude that vulnerable professor has been embarrassed? Antoinette.
Okay, so Ebenezer Anand says the citizenship view of the former president is so apt. How do we have dual citizenship law but are not allowed to attain certain positions? What is the fear? Nigeria and other progressive countries have that system. Those spoiling our water bodies and engaged in galamsey are not foreigners. Nana also says Mahama and his party have been telling Ghanaians that the country is hard, but he was able to provide 40 cedis to each member of the party. Ghanaians are very alert and discerning. Good evening, Paul. John Mahama has no new policy again, so he is promising what he cannot do. Dr. Bawumia all the way. This is coming from Imorutia Mashhood. Lastly, from Anaba Elisha, JDM has already lost 2024 election. No president has ever held the sword more than twice. I want to advise the NDC youth, don't let someone lie to you that they have won the election and you be burning things on the road. Life matters to your family and not your party. BMW on the way. I'm Elisha Anaba, watching you live inside Pony. All right,
so this is coming from Opon Francis. He says that, thanks for your fairness in program. Good evening, Ghana. From Honorable Francis Kojo Opon, DC for Doma West. And this is coming from Suleimana Mutaka. He says that it's clear that whoever emerged the winner to lead New Patriotic Party will break the 8, and it's obvious it's Alan John Kojo Tremantin. And this is coming from Citizen Francis says that John Mahama failed his June exams and is now considering a resit for NOVDEC. He's using the same materials which he failed the June exams with. Ghana is not a country that we can play such games with, that you forgot to do something and wish to come back to do it. If you want to come back, you must be serious. He's been inconsistent with his promises and arguments with regards to Dr. Mahmudu Bawumia, Ghana's next president. And this is coming from Stephen Kweku Abuaje. Voting for Mahama is like pouring palm wine from calabash to beer bottle. Nothing has changed because it's the same palm wine. Ghanaians won't make a mistake 2024 to vote for Mr. Mahama, who couldn't pay common nurses and teachers allowance. Over to you, Mikhail.
Right, Renegade from Tema East says, great analysis, Paul. This should be repeated next week. I just loved every bit of the analysis. Well, Nixon, it would have been great if you told us which part specifically you like. Now, Joe Dakota says, electing Mr. Mahama as NDC presidential candidate in a contestless election is no news. The same man who has been beaten twice in a most mesmerizing manner can never pose a threat to any of the NPP formidable presidential hopefuls, especially Dr. Bawumia Jogate and Alan Trematin. Junior Akbar from Tamale says, good evening to you. Congratulations to John Dramani Mahama, but you should try as much as possible to concede defeat come 2024 to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Well, Citizen Francis says, how do the NDC expect Ghanaians to take them seriously when they cannot compile an accurate voter register? Can they accuse the Electoral Commission for rigging when they are? Well, Citizen Francis, the rest of your message is a bit libelous, so I'm not going to continue reading. Anyway, Aaron Babako says, Muntaka says NDC leaders wanted him to lose, unquote. I strongly believe that the exposition of the schemes and the strategy of your enemies is a clear indication of you have been crowned the winner over your enemy or be considered the victorious one. If only this is true, Muntaka should not give much attention to this, but rather focus on how to achieve his political career or his ambition as a politician. Moving on, Martin Buffalo says Muntaka narrowly escaped. This is because if all who voted for Mahama but didn't vote for Muntaka bravely voted for Masuudu, that would have spoiled the party now. Muntaka Isa says, congratulations to my big bro Muntaka. Almighty Allah will continue to lift you higher and higher. Allah has fought the battle for you, my brother. If I were NDC, I would have started campaigning for you now to retain the seat. And lastly, Salifu Wahab says, NDC has good intentions, but they should learn politics very well. It will make them the best party forever. There are situations you don't use force, but you compromise. Back to you, Paul.
Okay, this is getting very interesting now. As I'm getting to my text messages on my phone, opinions are well divided. But the thing I need to do is to acknowledge something that's very important. The photographs that we showed, can you put back at least one of them, the Michael Quay photographs? Can you put on one of them? Just any of them, just any of them. I need to acknowledge the owner of those photographs. It's very important that I do in these days of copyright. I understand that Martin Pigbu was saying that he wrote some book and somebody said the book is not for him. All right, is it going to take long? Okay, yeah, this is perfect. So that's Professor Aaron Michael Quay, whom we talked about. I have to acknowledge that these photographs are from Yao Pare. The famous Ghanaian young man photographer, Yao Pare, is the one who put these photographs up. Yeah, this kind of photograph is, you can tell that is Yao Pare, can't you? This is such a really great shot. So congratulations to Yao Pare for putting the photographs up. We haven't stolen your photographs, Yao Pare, have we? No, we have just used it and we have mentioned you. But yes, I agree with that. We should be acknowledging all of these things when we use people's material. Yao Pare is the one who put these photographs together. It's 25 minutes past 10 on the top of the hour. I'm going back onto the touch screen to do the Asiedu Katia thing. Mr. Producer, come and see me. Let's do it. You can come and see me because I'm going to go back to Black Rasta. I'll do Black Rasta and then I'll do the President Mahama montage. And then by the time we finish that, I'm ready for the... Oh, did I need to do the LPM? Yes, I have a live LPM here to mention to you viewers. This is such an excellent company. And... it is about you, viewers. This LPM is about you. Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say. But as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands in our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. Is that true? It says aging can stand in the way of enjoying your mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use your stairway day in, day out. Yes, old people cannot climb their stairway day in, day out. We have had to put our parents on the ground floor these days because they cannot go up anymore. Worry no more. And this is a good story because the portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVEs, you are sure of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. What is portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators? I'll show you the video. It is a simple to use self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility to choose from. You may call it luxury, but it is a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home or your office. It's affordable and it can be installed within 3 days with modifications to your building. Visit us at Sakumono for your lifts and elevators solutions and free consultation. Please call them on 0200 535 515, 0200 535 515, or email at elevators@gmail.com, at elevators@gmail.com. Now, you heard what I was saying. This is the video. This is how it works. Have a look.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVEs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation, to call or WhatsApp us on 0200 535 515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
All right, welcome back to the show, viewers. It's always a pleasure to bring the show to you. Good evening and to you all. And the people behind me, people say when they see the photograph like this picture in front of you, you see me and you see 2 others. Yes, you should see 2 others, Nelson Mandela and Che Guevara. They are giving me moral support so that I can make sense, isn't it? I hope that with their support, I do. Okay, a lot is about to happen. Okay, now, Koku Anyidoho, the renegade, quote and unquote, the renegade member of the NDC's national executive, had said something about President Mahama commanding the state sword on 3 occasions, and that is an anathema spiritually that President Mahama cannot command the sword. 3 occasions, because the constitution gives everybody 2. President Mahama still has another constitutional right to run for president again. Koku knows that, but he says that spiritually you can't hold it 3 times, and that those people who hold the state sword with their 2 hands, they don't do more than 1 term. Okay, so then Johnson Asiedu Nketia responded yesterday. Asiedu Nketia reminded him that J.J. Rawlings has held the sword in 79 and in 81, and that's the point of our story. We're going to be doing that. Asiedu Nketia versus Koku Anyidoho is coming up after the break. Don't go nowhere, because we have a full analysis on this one as well. And then we do have Kofi Amoah, and could you please get that ready? Kofi Amoah's response to President Mahama's 14-point presentation at the NDC event on Monday. We'll do that as well. And then we still have Ibrahim Zebela, who was at Ashaman for us, keeping a close eye on Sam George and Mr. Nate. He'll tell us what happened here. All of that is coming up in the 35 minutes or so that we have left for the broadcast of this live edition of Good Evening Ghana. After the break, we come back with all the interesting political stories.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
Dummy dribbles to the right. He's got an opportunity on the edge of the penalty box. He's gone past the defense. This must surely be it. Goal! It's a goal!
With only 150 pesos, you can win up to 16.5 million Ghana cedis in the Betway Atina Ketia jackpot. A jackpot muhine. Bet responsibly, not for persons under the age of 18. This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
Do you need a place with a stunning view and serene environment just beneath the Green Mountains with a commercial center and recreational area with an amazing park? Then look no further.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Welcome to Rehoboth Havens, the most affordable yet luxurious gated community located in Damfa, Accra. We have 2 and 3 bedroom houses with spacious park. Let me show you. All of our rooms come with beautiful porcelain tiles, durable fitted kitchen cabinets,
constant water supply,
electricity and water 24/7.
I'm buying this house. Stop processing my papers. Move it. If you're living in Ghana and want an affordable and luxurious house to buy, look no further than Rehoboth Social Housing Limited. Oh, and to those from the diaspora, aren't you tired of living in places that doesn't belong to you? You can also own your house and be your own landlord from Rehoboth Social Housing Limited. I have my own Bossu landlord.
Contact us now. Rehoboth Social Housing. Your housing dream becomes reality.
Enjoy the fruits of your labor, they say, but as humans, aging and physical infirmity stands our way of enjoying our mansions and homes. It often becomes challenging, if not impossible, to use our stairways day in, day out. With portable American pneumatic vacuum elevators, PVs, you are assured of unlimited enjoyment of your mansions and homes. It's a self-supported elevator for vertical movement of humans and goods at homes and offices. The original comes in 3 custom-made models with wheelchair accessibility. Call it luxury, but it's a necessary imperative for vertical mobility. Do not let aging or infirmity limit you. Get one for your easy vertical mobility at home. It's affordable and can be installed in just 3 days without modification to your existing building. It's however easier to incorporate it at the construction stage. We also have traditional Fuji elevators and escalators for your high-rise buildings and malls. Visit Lifts and Elevators Company Limited at Sakumono for your elevators nationwide. For free consultation to call or WhatsApp us on 0200-535-515. Lifts and Elevators, the elevator people.
Company.
I just got a text that is fascinating me. When you're on TV and you see that some people are watching, you get excited, don't you? I've just received a text from She calls, well, I know her very well, Frances Esiam, our own Frances Esiam, former MD of the Ghana Cylinder Company. Of course, we know the history of Frances Esiam. She's a former parliamentary candidate for Adenta constituency. She signs out as Amen Obatampa Frances Irabna Esiam. Now, this is the message. He says, Paul, hi Paul, H.E. Dr. Mahama Dubaomia has been anointed by Almighty God and will surely prevail and win massively. Check the USD rates today. Hey, I've not checked though. I don't do US. Please, USD rates. Google for me, quick. Let's check. Okay. Bau, his time is now. Hear, oh, all your sons and daughters of Mother Ghana. Amen. Oh. So Francis Asiam says he's a big supporter of Alhaji Baumia. He's going to win. He says the dollar. Another message has come. Somebody says, good evening, Mr. Ochre. He calls me Mr. Ochre Dako. Sorry, my name is Adom Ochre. Ochre Dako is my senior brother Gabi. He says, Black Rasta is watching. Oh, thanks. We've caught him. You know, Facebook will catch you. They will say that Black Rasta, good evening. Rastafari, peace be unto you. Peace be unto you. Black Rasta, peace be unto you. Oh, you found it. Screenshot it. Let me put it up. Hurry up. Screenshot. Let me put it up. Black Rasta, peace be unto you. Peace be unto you. Because he's watching, I'll show the thing again. I'll show it again. Black Rasta, go and mark the script. So go and mark it again and do. Oh, Francis Asiam, thank you too. But I saw a text I wanted to read. The guy from London. I like it when people are doing their academic work in England and they're always watching the show on social media. I just love it. So his name is Prince, PhD researcher, University of Lincoln, England. Prince, your message is long, but because you are a fan, I shall read it. I'm not sure how he got my number, but there's some text messages exchanges that I can see between me and him. Excellent. Okay, Prince, here you go. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be in England soon. Let's meet. I'll text you when I come. And then we can meet. Okay, I have a short matter there soon. All right. Oh, another person sent a text. Viewers, can you imagine how people are? So when they said, when I was reading Frances Esiam text, he said dollar. And I said, check the dollar for me. The person said, I said, Paul, the eagerness with which you want to check the dollar means that you do dollar a lot. Stop lying to us that you don't do dollar. Why do you want to know the rate? Me sitting here, I don't do dollar. I don't care about the rate. You care so much about, no, I care because people, businesses, you know, they are importing. If it's not good, then it will look like the government is bad. And so that's why I don't have dollar. Please. Okay. All right. Let's move on. I'm going to read this guy's text now. Prince's text. Okay. Okay. It says, good evening, Paul. As a student of representative democracy, and I like that. As a student of representative democracy, I disagree with you on the point of political correctness where you argue that NDC party leadership should have intervened to allow certain candidates win their primaries because of their contribution of their parents to that party. Full stop. He goes on. That may sound a politically correct argument to make, but it seriously frowns on representation and its aftermath effect on diversity in choices. Okay. Particularly when becoming a candidate in certain constituencies has become an automatic entry into parliament. That's correct. With that said, you are spot on the concerns you have raised regarding the dual citizenship issue. Take, for instance, I live in England. My daughter is British by birth, but I am a Ghanaian holding a Ghanaian passport. The point of citizenship is that it is a choice. As a matter of fact, you do not need to hold a British passport to enjoy all the privileges living in England. With that in mind, if I know going in for British passport could hurt my political ambitions in Ghana, if I so desire to pursue one, the plausible thing to do is to continue to live on my permanent residence. Being a permanent resident in a foreign country is different from being a citizen of that country. And for that matter, those who opt for foreign passports to become dual citizenship made those choices consciously, and I don't think we should mend our rules because of someone's preference for choice. Good show. Thank you, Prince. Thank you for the disagreement on representative democracy. I like the disagreement. That's what join in political programming is about. Thank you so much for your text, and thank you for watching our program. I think I like your points as well. Okay, where are we? Black Rasta, isn't it? Okay, do you have the Black Rasta thing? It will take a bit of time. Can you check? They have it. Okay, put it up. Put it up. Let's greet Black Rasta again. No, not this one. The post that he was watching, not the video, please. Madam, are you sleeping? No, take it off. I said, do they have the post? I told them to put. That Ibrahim Zebrila should have it. Have they have it? Do they have it? They don't have it? Oh, it's a long story. Oh, all right. The poster, you were showing me a poster. I said, put it on TV, or you didn't get it. Okay, I think somebody has sent it to me. All right. Okay. They don't have it. They didn't hear that. Okay. All right. Let's, before we go to Black Rasta, let's congratulate John Dramani Mahama again. Should we do that, or should we? No, we didn't do Asedun Katia. We didn't do Asedun Katia. When we finished Asedun Katia story, Asedun Katia Kokwani, the whole story. Are we now going to do it? Yes, we are now going to do Asedun Katia Kokwani, the whole story. Can you imagine? My brain is all over there. When you are growing old, it's like that, you know. Growing old is not. There's a song when we're growing up, they play it on GBC. Growing old, I wish I will never grow old. But here we are. Old has come. You can't do anything about it. You are old, officially old. And I'm playing with one of my children. He says, hey, Akokra. Look at her like that. I call him Akokra. It's 18 minutes at the top of the hour at 10 o'clock. Here is a tribute, congratulatory message to Johnson Asedu Ketia's son for being elected as Member of Parliament. I believe it's for Tano in the Bono region. But this is a montage for the General Secretary who has organized a successful primaries for parliamentary candidates and presidential candidates. Johnson Asedu Katia, our very good friend. Good evening and congratulations to your son.
Suzuza. Arise for Ghana, oppression of the land, for weather and seek your future. Development our God, from vision to victory, the end is surely. Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity, from vision to victory, the end is surely. Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity. Ejo bana from vision to victory, the end is surely. Democrat, Suzuza. Arise for Ghana, oppression of the land, for weather and seek your future. Development our God, from vision to victory, the end is surely. Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity, from billion to billion, the NDC shall lead. Stable Democrat, Ghana, our strength in unity.
Okay, welcome back to the show. That was our congratulatory message to Johnson Asiedu Nketia. Now we are on the Asiedu Nketia story, and it's entitled, I'll be going to the touch screen in a minute, but I'm adjusting my seat. It's entitled Johnson Asiedu Nketia versus Kwaku Anyidoho. So the story is that Kwaku Anyidoho, who is a renegade again, in quotes, renegade national executive member of the party, is now saying things about President Mahama. He says President Mahama cannot handle the sword of state 3 times, and that's a sort of abomination to him. He says also that President Mahama is under a spell, that having held the sword of state with both hands, he cannot rule Ghana again. So that's Kwaku Anyidoho saying. But Asiedu Nketia had a response for him at the NDC event in Tamale on Monday. He responded, and we also have an addendum. Ours is not a response, an addendum to what Asiedu Nketia said. But yes, to just put the story together, here's what Kwaku Anyidoho said.
Yentu ohina konyaso ensane emfano ensanfane be see akonyaso eye no me. Another one spiritually is that this sword that we hold, that the presidents hold to swear the oath of office, spiritually you can hold it only twice. Jerry Rawlings held it twice, 92, 96. President Kufuor held it twice, 2000, 2004. President Mills held it once, he died, he left. John Mahama, on the 9th of 24th July 2012, you held the sword of state and you swore an oath. On the 7th of January 2013, you held the sword of state and swore an oath. You held it twice. Why do you want to hold it 3 times and be a curse upon the country? He cannot. Nana has held it twice. He can't hold it a 3rd time. Why does John Mahama think that Ghana was created for him and that he will come and mess the nation up spiritually and physically? It won't happen. It cannot happen.
Kwaku Anyidoho has thrown a challenge to John Mahama that it won't happen. But Johnson Asiedu Nketia had a reply for him at the NDC event, the John Mahama event in UDS yesterday. I wasn't invited. I would have loved to be there because I like UDS. But I've been there twice. I just love the school, but I wasn't invited. Next time they invite me, I'll show up, isn't it? Okay. Now the what Kwaku Anyidoho is saying, it's to be exemplified in the video that we're about to show you. Okay. He's saying that the state sword is carried by one hand, etc., etc. We will show you the video of the historical state sword, how it's been carried. We're going to begin from the beginning, from Osajefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Osajefo the president in 1960. Remember when Nkrumah was leader of Ghana in 1951, the period before 1960, he was leader as prime minister. So he held only the prime ministerial position. That does not make him head of state. That sword they hold is for the head of state. It's not for the head of government. So as prime minister, he's head of government. But the head of state in those circumstances was Queen Elizabeth in those times. So those days you say Ghana, 1957. So earlier you say Gold Coast, prime minister, Kwame Nkrumah, president, head of state, Queen Elizabeth. That's how they write it. Independence, 1957. When the independence bill was passed in the British Parliament, it says that Her Majesty and the Parliament of Britain has now given independence to Her Majesty's territory, the Gold Coast, to be called Ghana. Okay, in 1960, the Queen ceased to be head of state of Ghana because we became a republic and passed a constitutional resolution to be a republic, not to be under any state. So it is from then that they carried the state sword. So if you go back to 1969, you see it in a video, Prime Minister Buzia doesn't carry the state sword. He's only prime minister. He's sworn in by the leaders. And then President Akufo-Addo is the one who was president. He will carry the state sword. And then 79, 92, 96, all that. So here's the video. So we understand what Kwaku Anyidoho is saying. And we can verify it. Is it true that somebody held with one hand and somebody held with two hands? Is it true? Here's the video.
Presence of the people.
This is the swearing in of Osajefo, the president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. There you see, they bring him, what are they giving him? The state sword. Ah, there it is. Osajefo, the president, holds the state sword by one hand, and he takes the oath of office. I should have told my editor to forward these things because we don't need the whole video. This is really all what we needed to see. Swearing in of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah in 1960, as you can see, is there. Let's pause and hear what he's saying.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to Ghana, that I will preserve and defend the Constitution, and that I will do right to all manner of people according to law, without fear or favor, affection or ill will. So help me God.
My Lord Chief Justice, Commissioner.
Yeah, so that's his Prime Minister Buzia. As I told you, he's been sworn in as Prime Minister. So his hands are lifted by Akwesi Amankwa Afrifa, who at that time was acting as head of states. The three of them standing behind him, they were the threesome head of states, or the trio head of states at the time, before the head of state proper was sworn in. So this is 1969. Kofi Abrefa Buzia is being sworn in as a Prime Minister of the Republic of Ghana. Talk of Kofi Abrefa Buzia reminds me that one of his nephews, Nana Kofi Bame, we call him Azobi. He's watching me tonight. Nana Kofi, thank you very much for watching. It's always a pleasure. Now, here is Edward Akufo-Addo, who now is being sworn in. He's taking the oath on the Bible as president of Ghana. Edward Akufo-Addo takes the oath at current Parliament House. It was Parliament House then, and it's still Parliament House, and that's Edward Akufo-Addo before the justices of the Supreme Court. Let's see whether he's given the sword. This is an old video from AP, Associated Press. It doesn't seem to. Is that the sword? It is the sword. Okay, so there he holds it one hand. Is it one hand? Are you sure? Are you sure? Okay, so this is Flight Lieutenant Rawlins, who arrives now. We'll be coming back to this story because this must have been some confusion in Johnson Asiedu Katia's head, but we'll come back to that later. So this Hilary Man arriving for the event of his swearing in as president of Ghana in 1979. Dr. Hilary Man had won elections after a second round. Now you see J.J. Rawlins sitting in the head of state's chair over there. We'll come back to this video in some real detail, and we'll talk about the establishment proclamation and all that. But that's Dr. Liman swearing in. Now we move straight to 92. Thank you very much, editor. You did it very well. We move it. That's J.J. Rawlins, and that's the state sword. I'm thinking it must have been polished, because what Nkrumah held and what this one is the same thing, but it looked like it has been really polished by 1992. This is Flight Lieutenant Rawlins holding the sword with with one hand. It's important, so check it. All right, it looks like it's gone. It's J.J. Rawlins being sworn in 1997, the second swearing in of the former chairman of the PNDC. That's the state sword. Again, it would appear that he's holding it with one hand. Yeah, that's the state sword. Flight Lieutenant Rawlins. Let's hear him.
Help them, so help me God. And do in the name of the Almighty God swear
that I will be faithful
and
true to the
clearly holding the state sword with one hand. John Ajekum Kufuor holds the state sword with his right hand, and that is Professor J.M. Oh, that's clear. Professor Mills holds the state sword up with two hands. Okay, let's move on. John Dramani Mahama in 2013. This is what Koku is calling his second swearing. I should have added the Parliament one. I should have told my editor. Okay, so that's John Dramani Mahama. He's swearing in with both hands, following his boss, Professor Mills, isn't he? And now that's the Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the incumbent president. And okay, let's hear him.
As by law established.
Okay, so that's Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo clearly holding it with one hand. Okay, so now we get the understanding of what Koko Anyido was saying. He's talking about one hand and all of that. We are now going to go to hear what Asiedu Nkatia said in the video at Tamale at the UDS place. How Asiedu Nkatia responded to this on the John Mahama event on Monday. This is what he said.
I have heard it being said throughout this campaign that somehow there is no history of any president who has sworn with our state source 3 times. Maybe they haven't learned the history properly. Because President Rawlings swore to the nation 3 times. First, as the chairman of AFRC. Second, as the chairman of PNDC. And the third, as the elected president of the Republic of Ghana. We never chose this day consciously, May 15. It just happened that today we are repeating history in another form. President Mahama is going to be the second president to swear to this nation for the 3rd term before he leaves. He has already sworn twice. He swore as a president after the unfortunate demise of President Atta Mills. The second term when he was elected as President of the Republic. And January 7th, 2025 is going to conclude the history making of this country, because he is going to swear with the state sword for the 3rd term as the President of the Republic of Ghana. This tells you that the man comes with divine guidance.
All right, so we heard Asiedu Nketia say that, but you see, I like the expression on President Mahama's face. You see, he was not as excited as some of those in the crowd, because I think as a politician, he understands it. So we're going to explain to Johnson Asiedu Nketia something very simple. Sir, good evening, how are you? Okay, I hope you're fine. Please, sir, please. The sword of state is not given to people who overthrow government by coup d'etat. They don't even find it. They don't find it. It's not there. Because the sword of state, that event of the sword of state that is given to the one who has won the election, that event is a meeting of parliament. You have been a member of parliament before, so you should understand that. It's a meeting of parliament. The coup people, when they come, parliament is the first thing they cancel, so there's no parliament. So you cannot swear them in, as J.H. Mensah told you in that parliament, in parliament, before parliament. You can't swear any coup maker in parliament, before parliament. You can't do that. So this thing you said is very wrong. I'm sorry. It's not good. It's not correct. J.J. Rawlings did not take the sword in 79 and in 81. But maybe it is this video that has confused people about the 79 event. Those who were either not, I was too young, but I've read it. Other people have read it. Those who have not seen it, when you watch the video or you see the photographs, you might get confused. You will think that the person being sworn in is the soldier. No, he is not being sworn in. He's a coup leader who has seized power. And now elections have occurred. So he's handing over. He didn't take the sword. By no means. The same in 1981. No sword was taken. Let's show the video of the 1979. Let me talk you through it, viewers. Let's see the video. It's coming up soon. Hila Liman. Now the focus was on Flight Lieutenant Rawlings. This is Liman now arriving, and Liman's car is carrying the Ghana flag. That's the president of Ghana, not the guy who arrived in the... So, this, pause it, please pause it, please pause it. Pause it. Good. Now viewers, have a look at it clearly. So, J.J. Rawlings is sitting in the state chair, and Dr. Liman, where he shouldn't be, he should never be there, he should really not be there at that time. Later on, he qualified to be there. But in this event, JJ should not be there. the chair should be empty. So you see, viewers, these days when you go to the inauguration of the president, you can look at all the presidents. That chair is empty. So why did they put JJ there? This is what has confused the chairman of the NDC. JJ didn't take any sword on this occasion. Johnson, I said, please listen. JJ don't let this photograph confuse you. No, JJ didn't take any chair. So Dr. Liman was made to sit on the chair on the left. That's the vice president's chair. It is till this day the vice president's chair. So Dr. Liman is speaking now. He was to be sworn in as president of Ghana, not JJ, who usurped the chair that he later got correctly. But on this occasion, he had clearly usurped it. It was not his place to sit there. Of course, he looked quite uncomfortable in it anyway. All right, play the video. Let the video continue playing and let's continue our work. All right.
And well-being of the people of Ghana. So help me God.
Okay, pause, leave it there. So that's how the 1979 happened. This was the 1979 event. So J.J. Rawlings did not take any sword in 1979. I said, Nketia should never have said that. He should never have said that to such an important audience. On an occasion where President Mahama is sort of bringing back the love of the NDC to the NDC people, I said Nketia is making errors. He shouldn't have said that. Where did he get that from? Then he talks about 1981. It is wrong. Where did he get that from? And so in our flyer, I don't know whether they have it, they'll put it. In our flyer, we say that Mr. Chikata should tell our honorable chairman what is called transitional provisions. I'll show it to you now. Did I say transitional provisions? Establishment proclamation. We'll talk about transitional provisions as well tonight. But we said in our flyer that the lawyers in the NDC, Elik Plim Agbamava and Mr. Chachu Chikata, they should tell Johnson Asedukatia what is establishment proclamation. That's what he's confused with sword. No. The coup makers don't carry any sword. It doesn't work like that. Why are we taking us back to another place? Johnson Asedukatia. So J.J. Rawlings properly has carried the sword of state. 1993, 7 January 1993, he carried the sword of state, sworn in as president of the republic, having won the election so conducted in November and December of 1992. 7 January, J.J. Rawlings took the sword. 1. Okay. 7 January 1997, J.J. Rawlings took the sword. 2. Having won the elections, fought on the 7th of December 1996, J.J. Rawlings took the sword. Twice. Finished. Nobody has taken, no J.J. Rawlings took any sword the third time, anytime, anywhere, in Ghana, elsewhere. Wrong. Sir, please. We understand that we can all make mistakes, but where you sit as chairman of a party, some of these things, and also such a seasoned member of parliament, a seasoned member of parliament, a really good one, and you sit as an important chairman of the NDC, in fact, you are right. Globally, in terms of the socialist forum, not many people understand politics better than you. You're right about those things you say about yourself. But why this one? It's wrong. I'm sorry, sir. I beg you. I really beg you, sir. I'm sorry, but it's wrong. We can't accept that, you see. We can't accept that. He's an important person, but when he says something that's wrong, we cannot accept it. Sir, I beg you, I'm really sorry about this, but that is wrong. It's blatantly and manifestly wrong. Now, put up the establishment proclamation. Let me show viewers how it looks like. Establishment proclamation. So when the coup people do the coup, they write so they appoint themselves. When they do the coup and they seize power, they appoint themselves as president of Ghana. They also appoint themselves as parliament of Ghana. So all coup makers are legislature and executive. They leave the judiciary to do their thing. They just cancel the Supreme Court. There's a reason why they cancel the Supreme Court. You see, because the Supreme Court is the court of first instance for the interpretation of laws. So the things they write in the establishment proclamation, you can go to Supreme Court to challenge it. So they cancel Supreme Court. So the court ends a court of appeal. There's no Supreme Court. You cannot go for constitutional interpretation in any court. That's what the coup makers all do. There's no Supreme Court. So Supreme Court comes in when the Constitution returns. So between Achampon School, 70 something and 79, there was no Supreme Court in Ghana. Same between 1982 and 1992, there's no Supreme Court in Ghana. They canceled Supreme Court so that you cannot go and challenge some of these things they say in there. We're just explaining to viewers to get their Asiedun Ketia question that there was no state sword handed over to J.J. Rawlings until 7 January 1993. Okay, let's look at this quickly. So this is the Establishment Proclamation. See how it is worded. What's this? Proclamation Decree. Okay. Yes, this is the Proclamation Decree. That's J.J. Rawlings in the beautiful photograph they have of him. I read, and viewers, please read with me. Whereas on Monday, 4th day of June, 1979, the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council assumed the reins of government of the Republic of Ghana, hitherto exercised by the Supreme Military Council in the interest of the people of Ghana, and whereas it is expedient that due provisions should be made by law for the proper administration of Ghana and for the maintenance of law and order, now, therefore, by virtue of the said assumption of the government of Ghana. This is interesting, viewers. So you see the wording. Whereas in the Constitution they say sovereignty relies in the people of Ghana, and the people of Ghana have elected the president. They can't say that in an Establishment Proclamation because they stole the power with gun. So this is what they say. It says, now, therefore, by virtue of the said assumption of government. How did the said assumption of government happen? It happened by gun shooting, and things like that. That's how the said assumption of government happened. What's a said assumption of government? Do you assume government by said? You assume government by winning the election at the ballot box. But these cool people, they don't win election by ballot box. They take Ghana by force. So when they are drafting the establishment, so this then becomes the Constitution of Ghana. If you violate this thing by trying to overthrow the AFRC or the PNDC, you have committed treason. That's how it works. Now, when they finish doing all of that, they come and protect themselves in the transitional provisions. I'll show you, and I'll lead you, all of those of you studying law, or those who want to study law. There's an article about this by Professor Kofi Kumado. It's in the University of Ghana Law Journal, one of them. It's entitled, Forgive Us Our Trespasses. You should read it. And that's what I read. All what I'm telling you, I read it then. All what I'm saying today is from that article, and I read it a long time ago. But that's the article. It's entitled, Forgive Us Our Trespasses. It's by Kofi Kumado. Okay. Now, they said that, therefore, by virtue of the said assumption of government of Ghana, this proclamation is made with effect from the 4th day of June 1979. 1. There is hereby established an Armed Forces Revolutionary Council in this proclamation referred to as the Council. 2. The Revolutionary Council shall consist of persons specified in the schedule to this proclamation. 3. With effect from the 4th day of June 1979 and subject to the other provisions of this proclamation and any other decree that the Revolutionary Council may make, the operation of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, which came into force on 22nd day of August 1969 and which Constitution has been suspended, shall continue to be suspended. Thank you. That's what they say. The Constitution has been suspended. It shall continue to be suspended. So get ready the 1981 one so I can let people understand it. Now, they are saying that because, can you put this back? You get it ready. They are saying that because they themselves, they are overthrowing a military government that itself overthrew the 69 Constitution. So the point they are making to you is that they are not bringing back the 69 Constitution so that you come and ask them that who elected them. No. The Constitution is still suspended. They have created a new Establishment Proclamation upon the illegality of their champion government. They are adding another illegality, still purporting to suspend the Constitution that Ghanaians had voted for and Ghanaians had elected their people. This is how the coup makers behave. So, if you don't have a coup mentality, how do you become a chairman of a democratic party and say that this was state sword? I mean, I don't understand. Okay, let's look at the 31st December one very quickly, and then we are running out of time. Okay, now this is it. This is the 31st December one, much better because you can understand. This was overthrowing a proper civilian regime elected by the people. Dr. Liman's government, elected by the people. These coup makers are coming to overthrow them. They get a lawyer to draft this thing. I'm not sure who drafted it, but you can easily guess it's either Kwame Nkrumah or Mr. Chikata or somebody like that. Okay, all right. So let's look at it. Now, therefore, by virtue of the said assumption of the government of Ghana, this proclamation is made with effect from 31st December 1981. 1. There is hereby established a provisional National Defense Council in this proclamation referred to as the Council. Similar words. The council shall consist of persons specified in the first schedule of this proclamation, as well as any other person. Similar, same. Is that all? Have I done something wrong? Shall not exceed a total of 11 members. Okay, no problem. This is the establishment proclamation. This is how it works. I need to run fast, so I'll move on. Let's go to the transitional provisions, the main part I'm looking for. So, when they do this cool things, they don't get state sword. And then we put pressure on them, and then we come into a constitutional situation. Then they do they join the constitutional situation like 79 or any other time, especially 92. This is about 92. Rawlings and his friends who have committed the coup, and I use the word committed purposely, committed the coup. They then set out these transitional provisions to protect them. This is what it says. No member of the Provisional National Defense Council, Provisional National Defense Council Secretary, or other appointee of the Provisional National Defense Council shall be held liable either jointly or severally for any act or omission during the administration of the Provisional National Defense Council. That's what they write. So they protect themselves all together. So that, going back to the Asiedu Nketia story, we have to know and we have to disagree with him that J.J. Rawlings has held the state sword twice. Koko Anyidoho is perfectly right about that. And on this note, I'd like you to play Asiedu Nketia's montage. So we say congratulations to him. Ibrahim Zebila, get ready as we put the Kofi Amwa story up. This is Asiedu Nketia. Thank you for your time. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, and congratulations again to your son. Give it to him.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Has Christianity always been one of the religions in the world to you?
Oh, hallelujah. Christianity is not a religion, neither is it a joining of a church and doing the Christian things like praying and giving and so on. Hallelujah. Christianity is the outworking of God's own kind of